We'd seen photos of this abandoned hospital and its interior really captivated us. Tons of the equipment was left behind when it closed. Join us as we head inside a well-preserved building and see what we can find in its huge premises. Having been warned beforehand about security patrols around the site, we chose the most hidden route into the grounds we could find and snuck around the back. The hospital had a large garden and centre courtyard, which was now very overgrown, clearly abandoned for some time. There is an impressive front side of the building because this part used to be a manor house. The rest of the hospital was built from it as the years went on. After some time, we finally found an access point. Immediately, we realised this place was special. Although initially wrecked, paintings were up on the walls, so the damage couldn't have been done by vandals. There was so much other stuff left behind too. In some office rooms, old photocopiers and books were gathering dust. Evidence was there that the items had been touched and moved around since closure, but the fact was that they were still here. So what was the cause for the high level of damage caused to the interior? We believe that copper thieves have been inside the building, as there didn't appear to be graffiti or any smashed windows, but there was roof tiles ripped off and piping all over the floor. A lot of the base level rooms were empty and we presumed to be offices, but finally we found a room with huge interest to us. Abandoned dentist chairs are Urbex goals for many explorers, and we had never seen one before, so we were very happy to do so. We progressed onwards through the dark corridors looking for more hidden gems. Back during the First World War, this hospital was established as a temporary place to assist soldiers during the time. Once the war finished and the hospital closed, it was bought and changed to serve the district it was in. The building was adapted to feature a maternity section, female wards and private wards. The town where the building is based then raised funds to introduce male wards to the site, which was opened in the 1930s. It ran as a hospital for the next 50 years, with a short closure in the 1980s, then it reopened, joining the NHS in 1996. Meanwhile, we were continuing our exploration and finding the small physiotherapy section of the hospital. Signs were on the door reading that this therapy has closed at the hospital, giving the idea that they had began closing smaller parts at the site before it closed for good. None of the windows on the top floor were boarded, so we were excited to explore with non-artificial light. Unexpectedly, this caused loads of insects to be trapped inside the top floor, making each window ledge a gruesome graveyard. This level primarily consisted of all the bedrooms the hospital had to offer. Most of them were empty except for a single light, but there was a few unique rooms along the corridor. The hospital shut its doors in 2015 because it had too little space for the amount of people it tried to help. In comparison to many other hospitals across the country, this one is only small. This setup is so photogenic and we were amazed by it. We are unsure if it was originally left like this or arranged by photographers, but we are definitely not complaining. There are other pieces of equipment left as well, like this bath, which was massive. We can only suggest reasons for why the equipment was left to decay rather than being transferred to another hospital. Perhaps it was outdated or faulty. Further down the corridor we found the security office, complete with a map of the layout of the hospital. This room was probably a lounging area where patients could talk to their families or each other. It was noticeable that some remaining furniture had small writing on it. We reckon this was because when the hospital closed, it attempted to sell this furniture, obviously with few takers. Even workers' personal belongings remained in another small office. This one was especially creepy. God, it's not even opened. The other half of the building was very destroyed and there was also a lot of dust. This meant we scanned through the rooms looking for nice details and didn't stay long. This red design was found in the canteen, which was so big and dark we couldn't light it up. However, it was only a large empty room. Currently, there are no plans made for the hospital. It remains controlled by the council, yet is left to rot and be vandalised soon enough. Now it is just another example of the sadly decreasing NHS. We had high hopes for the X-ray section, judging by the theme of the rest of the building, but we were disappointed. machinery left. There were still remnants like holes in the floor and the railing on the ceiling where it was, but that is always an expensive machine that needs to be saved, so it was probably transferred. The hospital's reception had a child-painted mural which would have been shown to everyday visitors when the hospital was open.
Precisely. And if they are, and if they have learned from this young scientist the unspeakable secret of the positive...
Some of the back rooms in this section of the building had tons of medical stuff left behind. There was even untouched sample jars used to take DNA from patients. We weren't certain what this machine does beside another hospital chair. Maybe it delivers oxygen to the patient sat down. In all, this room was used for blood donations, but we didn't see any needles. The only part of the building left to explore was the front-facing converted manor house. However, this proved disappointing as it seemed most of the original features had been removed, but there were still some remaining. Architectural details were something that went amiss in modern day hospitals. It is always nice to explore one with them inside, although crumbling away. Once we had seen the ruined grand staircase, we had finished our exploration of the hospital. The mould was a turn off, so we left the site, making sure it seemed we were never there.